On August 16, 1830, the Hamilton Queen sailed from Salem on her maiden voyage, bound for the East Indies. This was an era when the whole world stood at a new threshold of commerce and communication between nations. The story of this vessel is a vital chapter of America's rise to prominence in that era, the historical hour of the clipper ships. Laden with American goods, the queenly vessel slipped from the harbor to which she would bring back the treasured produce of the Orient. As she rode the outgoing tide, the tides of fortune for the young American Republic flowed with her. With speed that was never equaled in the days of sail, the clipper skimmed over the wide blue waters. It was the clipper ship that won America's place in the race between nations for trade and wealth. Yes, the Hamilton Queen carried far more than the valuable cargo in the hold below her rolling deck. She carried the American dream of destiny, and she carried the dreams of men who took in their hands the wheel of destiny, men like young Kirk Hamilton. His was the vision and courage of the seafaring Yankee pioneer. He knew the dangers that faced the pioneer, but his was the energy and the enterprise that ignored the danger and achieved the dream. 86 days out of Salem with a fair wind, the fate of a nation and the fate of Kirk Hamilton was bound up in his ship. Bound around Cape Horn, across the Pacific, and westward to the fabulous fortune-laden Indies, outward bound for destiny.
18 days ahead of our original charted course, Captain Tallman.
Aye, Mr. Hamilton. The clipper certainly justified your new design and proven her worth.
She hasn't proven anything yet, Captain. How do we take on the last of our cargo in the East Indies? Deliver it on the Salem docks ahead of competitive shipping companies.
Well, barring unforeseen trouble and weather permitting, we should be in the East Indies in about 6 weeks.
5. 5 if we nose her through the New Hebrides Islands.
That's risky, son. Too many seizures in those waters.
There isn't a pirate ship afloat that can keep this clipper's sails in sight for 24 hours, Captain. Much less board her.
That's still taking a big chance, Kirk.
Dad took a chance on us, Captain. His company and everything he owns is tied up in this voyage. If we're not the first ship back in Salem, no contract. That'll mean no more ships sailing under the Hamilton flag.
You're a very persuasive mate, Mr. Hamilton.
It's a very important voyage, Captain.
Chart the course as you see her, mate.
Thanks, Captain.
Confound it. I never can keep any cigars around here. Salty! Salty!
Coffee, Captain? Mr. Hamilton?
Put it on the table. By the way, Salty, I had some cigars around here this morning. You didn't see them when you cleaned my quarters, did you?
Who, me? Oh, no, sir.
Good. I was just going to throw them out. They're poison.
Poison, sir? Excuse me, Captain, I don't feel very good.
I don't guess you'll be missing any more cigars.
At least not until tomorrow.
Sail ho! Sail ho! Larboard quarter!
Sail ho, sir!
Well, mate.
Rod the larboard quarter, sir!
What do you make of it?
It's like a merchant frigate to me, Captain.
Man the sails. Lay up. Lay alive!
Port bow!
An American ship. Run up an American flag.
Aye, Captain Hackett. Streak of luck. They carry rich cargoes.
Have the crew man the guns. We'll brag it in on them when we clear the fog bank.
Aye, Captain.
She's a pirate vessel, the Phantom.
Main battery of 9-pounders. Secondary battery of 6-pounders, mounted on the forecastle and quarterdeck.
We won't be able to battle her.
We can outrun her. You
want to test the speed of the Clipper? Here's your chance.
All right.
Have the men crowd on the sail. Run out the guns and get every man to his station. I'm going forward.
Aye, aye.
Let's the guns aft, Mr. Fuller.
Which side?
Catch up that rigging! Raise no George around! Lower off again! Reload, fire at will!
We've been hit on port beam water level.
Man the pumps!
Aye, aye, sir.
Ships, lay below and look for damage! Lively now! Lower off again!
Take over, Mr. Morgan!
Get some hot water, quick.
How'd the Clipper do, Captain?
Ship shape, mate. But don't try to talk.
Tell me about her.
She left the pirate ship last night like she had wings for sails. Pain eased any, son?
I'll be up deck side in short order, Captain.
There's no use fooling yourself, Kirk. You've got a nasty splinter in that left leg. We can't remove it. You need medical attention, so we're dropping anchor at Queensland.
I can hold out till we reach the East Indies, Captain.
Our destination is Queensland, mate. That's an order.
Under a full head of sail, the Clipper veered southward from her course and raced with the wounded Kirk Hamilton for medical help. 4 days later, she arrived at a tiny harbor on the coast of northeast Queensland and dropped anchor. The disturbing news of her escape spread quickly. This community had been attacked before by the pirates, whose return was greatly feared by the peaceful settlers. But they welcomed the Yankee seamen as fellow pioneers, and in a simple shack, Kirk Hamilton was made as comfortable as his painful injury permitted.
How is he, Doctor?
Can't tell. I couldn't remove all the splinter. He's lost a lot of blood.
How long will it be before you'll be able to remove the rest of it?
Another week. Maybe 2. It depends. Besides, he should stay here under observation for at least a month. Blood poisoning.
You'll have to ship out without me, Captain Tolman.
Is that the way you want it, son?
That's the only way it can be, Captain. What happens to the Clipper and her cargo right now is more important than what happens to one man. We can't afford to lose even one day.
I wanted to hear it from you, Kurt. I knew you'd want it that way. We can pick up the rest of the cargo in the East Indies and stop for you on the way back to Salem. It'll take 2 months.
I'll be waiting, Captain.
I'll leave Salty and Mercer here to take care of you.
You'll need him.
That's an order, son. Besides, with Salty here, I'll be able to smoke one of my own cigars for a change.
Thanks, Captain.
Right, mate.
Yes, the news spread quickly throughout the little Australian settlement, and to men like Martin Shannon, a sheep rancher, the arrival of the Yankee Clipper and the story of her running fight with the pirates brought a very serious problem. The presence of the sea raiders threatened to disrupt the operation of the ranch, and to Martin Shannon, his ranch was of first importance. Here, too, as in America, a new civilization was being built on a primitive frontier. Here, where wild kangaroos hopped among the fields, the land was forced to yield to the farmer and the rancher. The land meant security and the bright hope of the future. But the colonists sent their wool and mutton to the Western world by only one route, the sea. Now their very homes, as well as the sea lane, were threatened by the pirates. While the men worked diligently in the pastures and sheds, their minds dwelt on the danger to their homes and families. Nerves became tense and tempers grew sharp.
We should have government trust.
All right, just a minute, man. One at a time. Now, what is it, Jackson?
If the Americans were fired upon by the same pirate ship that raided our colony last year, then we might be in for more trouble, and soon.
Why aren't these men at work?
The men are worried, Mr. Shannon.
Worried about what?
But the raider ship's so close, they feel it isn't safe here without government troops.
So?
Unless the magistrate does something, they're moving back to the city.
I see. Well, men, Magistrate Jeffries is on his way right now to Brisbane to request the governor's help. I just saw the American ship and she's ready to sail. Now, if any of you men are afraid, get out. But if you're the men I think you are, you'll stay. And you'll forget this nonsense and get back to work with the rest of the men. Let me have those shares.
Yeah, I think we better stay.
All right, come on, go back. Say about it,
I got him. There he is. Here you are, Janice, and he's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon.
It's all right.
Come on, little fella, you need a bath.
I plan on going to Brisbane for a couple of weeks on business.
How wonderful.
You do want to go, don't you, Elaine?
Yes, Martin.
Hello, Miss Elaine. Mr. Shannon.
Oh, hello, Mr. Hartley.
Hello, John.
I just came up to tell Mr. Davis I saw the government sloop off the point.
Father's coming home.
He should be here shortly.
Oh, excuse me, Martin.
Don't forget to ask him now.
Father's coming home, Mr. Davis.
Yes, and I'll be glad to see him, too. It's been 3 long weeks since he went away.
There you are, Magic, all clean. A little perfume, and you'll smell like a lady.
Janice, what in the world are you into now?
I wash Magic.
Look at yourself. Just look at yourself. And Father's coming home. Hurry, put it down now. Gotta change your clothes. You'll be right here. Bill.
Elaine!
Oh, hello, Nancy.
I just heard that your father's coming home.
Yes, he'll be here shortly.
Oh, I'm just dying to see how Mr. Shannon will like your new clothes. Oh, you're such a lucky girl.
Thank you.
Elaine. Elaine, I just saw the Yankee sailor.
So, what about him?
The way he smokes.
The way he smokes?
It's the way he holds it, Elaine. Oh, and the way he walks.
The way he walks?
Yes, he limps a little.
He limps?
The way he limps, Elaine.
I don't care if he does limp. I think he's great.
Janice!
I don't care. I'm going to marry Mr. Hamilton.
You're what?
Why not? After all, I'm almost 10 years old.
Janice, aren't you ashamed to talk about a man like that?
Oh, you girls are old-fashioned.
Welcome home, Mr. Jefferson.
Dad! Daddy!
Oh, babe, you hurt yourself?
Daddy, I missed you so.
Mm-hmm.
Is that my new doll?
Why don't you open it and find out?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, dear.
Oh, welcome home. My, how well you look. Traveling must agree with you.
Well, girls, there you are. The latest from Brisbane.
I can't wait. Thank you, Father.
They missed you, sir, and I've missed them. Has the situation here eased any, Davis? No, sir. The people are still disturbed and frightened. Are we getting any troops? I've done the best I could. The governor refused? No, not exactly. He's promised to do the best he can. He's even promised to come here himself and investigate our situation. He's going to establish a garrison for our protection once and for all.
But when? Promises don't help us now. There's talk, sir, that if something isn't done soon, the people will move back to the cities.
We'll try to formulate a temporary plan of defense. Call a meeting of the council here tomorrow evening.
Yes, sir.
What's in the basket?
Oh, something.
Where are you going?
Oh, places.
That's going to be the finest ship afloat. Come in.
Well, hello, Janice.
Hello, Mr. Salty. Hello, Mr. Mercer. Happy birthday, Mr. Hamilton.
Happy birthday? Well, how did you know?
Mr. Salty told me. He said it would be nice if I brought a cake and we had a party.
I see. Say, that's a beauty. Who baked it?
I did, with a little help of my sister.
Oh.
You didn't tell us you had a sister. Well, why didn't you bring her along? Is she older than you?
Yes, but you wouldn't like her.
No?
No, she's big and fat and knock-kneed and bull-legged and ever so silly.
Well, I'm not so particular.
Alice, how dare you talk like that? You'll have to excuse my sister. Come along, young lady. You're going home.
Excuse me. After all, Salty did promise her a party. I'd hate to see him break that promise. Won't you join us?
Sure, then we could have a real party. You said it.
Well, I should be going.
Please stay. My name's Hamilton, and these are my two shipmates, Salty and Nat.
How do you do? Hello.
So you're Mr. Hamilton. I've heard a lot about you from Janice.
Talking behind my back, young lady.
Have I?
Well, what are you standing there for? Get a bucket of water. We'll brew up some tea.
Wait a minute. How about you getting the water for a change?
I've got plenty to do here. I think we need some flowers. Come on, baby.
I'll be right back, Mr. Hamilton.
I want to apologize for the way I stormed in here. I must have seemed rather awful.
I didn't think so. On the contrary, it was a very pleasant surprise.
Yours?
That's the next ship I plan to build.
How is it with men who build ships? I mean, do you form an attachment for the ships you build, or do you feel the same for each one?
Well, there's an attachment you feel for every ship you build. When you see her slide down the ways, take shape on the water.
But isn't there one ship above all the others that's your favorite?
Yes. The first one. It's like a first love. You never forget her.
Why do you talk about a ship as her?
Well, to a seagoing man, she's a lady. Beautiful, graceful, proud and spirited. Trim lines. And when you have a real ship like a real lady, you know you're safe in her arms.
You talk as though you might marry one.
5 minutes ago, I might have.
Do you always talk like this, Mr. Hamilton?
Not always.
Hello, Mr. Shannon.
How's Hamilton?
Oh, just fine. We're all fine. Matter of fact, we're beginning to enjoy your place.
What changed your mind?
Well, we're having a party down at the cabin. Tea and cake, all the trimmings. And the magistrate's daughter.
Janice?
And her sister. The big one.
Elaine?
Yeah, that's her.
We've been waiting for you, Mr. Shannon.
You have all the men ready?
They're inside.
Be with you in a minute, John.
Right.
Well, so long, Mr. Shannon. If you get a chance, drop up. I'll introduce you.
Oh, Janice, why don't you say goodnight to Mr. Hamilton and run along? I'll be there in a minute.
Good night, Mr. Hamilton.
Good night, Janice. And thanks for that birthday cake.
You're welcome.
It's been a wonderful evening, Mr. Hamilton.
Kirk.
All right, Kirk.
Will I see you tomorrow?
Maybe. Why don't you come in now? I know my father'd like to meet you.
You think so? Very well. It'd be a pleasure.
I ask you to share my confidence with me in the future. Now let us all reach a definite plan that will satisfy each of us.
Oh, I'm sorry, Father.
Come in.
Please be seated, gentlemen.
Come in, honey.
Father, this is Mr. Hamilton.
It's a great pleasure, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Shannon, Mr. Hamilton.
We've met.
And Captain Allison.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do?
If you'll excuse me, Father, I'll put Janice to bed.
I didn't mean to interrupt, sir. If you'll excuse me, I'll leave.
No trouble at all. Sit down. I'd like to have a chat with you after the meeting.
Take this one. Thank you.
It seems to me, Magistrate, that if the governor can't send troops now, he'll never be able to.
That's right.
I don't know what all you men are so worried about. After all, pirates prey on ships at sea, not on land.
They did invade our colony once before.
Could happen again.
If I might suggest...
Why not organize your own militia, sir? We do in America.
The Yankees right.
That's what we need. Our own militia. A plan.
How do we go about it, Mr. Hamilton?
I'll have a general signal in case of invasion. Meet at one central point and fight as a unit.
Mr. Hamilton makes sense.
Such a plan would take time and men away from their work.
It needn't. The plans can be worked out by one individual. The important thing is that everybody knows the plan.
Sounds exactly like what we need.
Would Mr. Hamilton assume the responsibility of developing such a plan?
You have my heartiest approval. Why not begin at once?
Is there some central location on high ground close about?
Kavanaugh Peak.
Well, it would be best to start right there.
You can take one of my mounts. We'll all meet on Kavanaugh Peak at the pass.
Elaine?
Oh, aren't you going with the others?
Yes, but I thought I'd stop for a few moments to tell you how beautiful you are. Especially so tonight.
Well, thank you, Martin.
Elaine, I've decided to announce our engagement before we leave for Brisbane.
Martin, we agreed to wait.
Is there any reason why I shouldn't announce it?
No, well, it's just that I see no reason to change our plans now.
Since this Mr. Hamilton has come into our lives, you've changed. I hardly know you.
My Martin, I think you're jealous.
Of course I'm jealous. Why shouldn't I be? I love you and I always will love you. Don't let a momentary infatuation make you do something foolish. He's from a different world. He has his home and his obligations. Your home is here with us, with your father, Janice, and me.
I'm aware of my obligations, Martin. I always will be.
He'll be leaving soon. Can't you see that it won't work out?
I see no reason to change our plans now.
Well, maybe at the dance you might feel differently about it. Let's talk about it then.
But the plans of Elaine Jeffries did not reckon with the plans fate had drawn for the young American. Nor did Elaine reckon with her own heart. She did not reckon with the springtime. And springtime in Queensland is just the same as springtime anywhere in the world. There is the same bright sunshine and the fresh green on the hills. The quickening pulse in the earth is the same. The fragrant caress of the wind is the same. The stirring life is the same in the trees, in the flowers, in the birds of the air. And a man and a woman are the same.
Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves, Davis.
Good evening, Magistrate.
Good evening. I hope you and your mates are enjoying your stay.
We are, sir. Excuse me.
Tell me, have you ever kissed a Blarney Stone?
Have I ever kissed a Blarney Stone? And the Blarney Stone is not all I'm going to be kissing.
Close your eyes, getting salty.
Honey, you go tell Elaine that I want to see her, will you?
All right.
Well.
Let's dance, Captain Salty. Kirk, there's so many people around.
Really? I hadn't noticed. You're the only thing I've seen all evening. Did I ever tell you I loved you?
Oh, just 1,000 times this past week. Oh, Kirk. Oh, Kirk, when you find someone you really love, it is a great discovery, isn't it? It's suddenly warm and alive.
And happy.
Oh, sounds silly, doesn't it?
No. No, when two people make a discovery like this, it's important. It's more important than who they are or where they're from or anything else. Look, Elaine, my ship's coming back in a couple of weeks. I want to take you home with me.
But your home's so far away, Kirk. I'd never see my family again. It isn't that I don't...
Is it Shannon?
Oh, I'm very fond of Martin.
Yes, but you don't love him.
No. But we grew up together, and It just seemed natural that someday... Kirk, I don't know what to say.
What is it to say? We belong together, Elaine.
I love you, Kirk. I want you to stay. There's so much to be done, and we could be happy here.
I have to go back, Elaine. A lot of people are counting on me. Their entire future's staked in this voyage of mine. My life's on the sea. I can't give that up.
What about my life, Kirk?
Oh, Elaine,
You're acting like children.
Come on, I'll take you home. I have to go back. A lot of people are counting on me. Their entire future is staked in this voyage of mine. My life's on the sea. I can't give that up.
I love you and I always will love you. Don't let a momentary infatuation make you do something foolish. He's from a different world. He has his home and his obligations. Your home is here with us, with your father, Janice, and me.
Aye, Captain Hackett.
You men know why we're here. We haven't boarded a vessel in a long time. I want to see the decks of the Phantom loaded by dawn. Are the horses ready?
We got the best stock that we could find. They're in the corral. Over there.
Look what we found. Prowling around back there.
You know what to do with them?
Yes, sir. Come on.
All right, shove off.
Some party, huh, Wilson?
I'll say.
Best one I've seen around here in a month.
Which one of you forgot to close the gate on the horses?
We didn't leave it open, Mr. Shannon.
Well, it's open now. And the horses are gone. Go get them.
Yes, sir.
And be sure to get them all back in the corral.
Is Mr. Shannon in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Elaine, what are you doing here?
Martin, you were right. My place is here with you. I want you to take me to Brisbane.
We'll go next week.
No, Martin, now.
All right. Tomorrow.
It's the raiders. They're surrounding us.
I've got to get her out of here. Wilson, you go out the front and draw their fire. John, you cover us from that window. Get them!
The magistrate's only thought was for Elaine and Janice. Momentarily evading the attackers, he galloped furiously to seek the two girls. Jeffrey's horse, seeming to share his urgency, ran as though pursued by the devil himself. And devils they were, clamoring hot upon his heels. The magistrate was riding for his life and knew it. of devastation and death, the evil crew of the Phantom fled to their ship and put to sea. The settler, who first had been captured by the invaders and then left for dead, feebly told Kirk and the others that the pirates had taken Elaine and Nancy aboard the Phantom.
Your magistrate is dead. Your homes are burned. You're not going to stand idly by and do nothing. We've got to go after them.
He's right.
Your sloop, Captain Ellison's our only chance to catch that raider ship.
But I've no authority to undertake such a mission. I'd have my ship's commission taken away from me. And besides, she has a small crew and no guns.
We'll get you additional men and all the guns and ammunition you need.
Just give us permission to board your sloop, Captain Ellison.
What if one of those girls was your daughter? What would you do?
Oh, hang the orders. We'll go. You get your men and guns and ammunition. Have the men stand by to pull anchor. On the double. I'll see you at the landing.
Say anything yet? Nothing. The mate wants the crew to eat in shifts. You probably fixed it so you eat in the first one. Yeah? Ah, just one. Do you see what I see?
Salty.
Oh, Janice, am I glad to see you, but here.
Mr. Shannon. Mr. Hamilton.
Why, Janice, what are you doing here?
My daddy told me that if anything ever happened, I should hide. So I thought I would be safe here. Where's my daddy?
Well, you see, Janice, your daddy and all of us were out fighting, and we...
Why isn't my daddy here? Where's Elaine?
Look, honey, we'll tell you all about that later. Right now, how about something nice to eat?
How about a nice hot bowl of soup, huh?
Salty has it already.
I could use a bit of a meal myself.
What'll it be, Salty?
Well, we have soup and cheese and cheese.
Well, Janice will have a bowl of soup.
I really don't feel like eating, Mr. Hamilton.
Well, what are you standing there for? You eat with the second shift.
You must be proud of yourself, Captain. Looting, killing, preying on innocent victims, then hiding on the sea like the spineless creature you really are. I always thought I'd be afraid to face a man like you. Well, maybe these parasites you call men are afraid, but I'm not. I feel sorry for you. You're nothing but...
Set our course for the nearest land. I don't care if it's in the middle of nowhere, but get them off my ship. Now get them out of here. Throw them below.
Seems to be changing her course.
That may be to our advantage.
How do you figure?
Well, as long as we can keep her in our sights, we're all right.
We're getting closer. She's about 2 hours away.
That gives us plenty of time to chart our strategy. Make sure that every man knows his station.
Captain Hackett, sloop sighted off the larboard bow.
There she is, off the starboard bow. Roll out the 9-pounders. We'll blast her out of the sea.
As long as the fog holds, they can't bracket their fire on us.
Aye. The Saints are with us, Hamilton.
Now, men, I don't have to tell you what you're up against. You know. You've seen these men fight. They've got no rules. Don't give them a chance. All right, to your stations.
Hold her steady.
Up with the anchors!
All right, Salty. Take your men and swim underneath the water to the other side of the ship. Climb aboard and draw their attention away from us.
Hamilton's small boatload of survivors slipped away from the doomed vessels into the darkness as the savage battle roared to a flaming climax behind them. Into the immense arms of the dark sea, through the cold night they rowed and drifted aimlessly, without compass or chart, at the mercy of wind and current. Through a blistering day and another night they drifted helpless. Then on the second day they sighted land. Only an island perhaps, but land. Wearily they managed to bring their small boat through the turbulent surf of a strange shore. The castaways straggled from the boat, exhausted by exposure to chilling wind and tropical sun, from which their meager clothing gave little protection. They faced their desperate situation, and desperate it was. With 2 frightened women and the child, and with Shannon wounded, Kirk Hamilton knew that he and John Hartley must bear the burden of their survival. Grimly his eyes met the glowering, forbidding aspect of a barren and desolate landscape. Harsh and cruel, it conveyed a silent, brooding menace.
Well, let's move inland.
Now, let's find a place for a campsite.
The tropical sky that night looked down on a ragged, sprawling little group of people who were blind to its beauty. In the deep sleep of complete exhaustion, they were also deaf to the wind and to the raging surf that thundered behind them, as if it had been cheated of its human prey. In the morning, the immediate concern of the party was food and water, and the harsh, forbidding land. The silent, watching vultures seemed to know, seemed to be waiting.
Feeling better?
Just like a nightmare. It's hard to believe it ever happened.
Don't talk about it, Martin. We're on land now. Things will work out.
I'm glad we're together.
Seeking food along the beach, Kirk Hamilton discovered new tragedy. The lifeboat, pounded all night against the rocks by the surf, was a broken shell already bleaching in the sun. Meanwhile, John Hartley, from a nearby hilltop, stared in dismay across a vast expanse of shimmering, burning desert. No human being could hope to survive in this empty land of... But wait, was it a mirage? Or did that dark patch in the distance mean vegetation? Trees? It must be, and trees meant fresh water.
Not many, but it'll help.
Find any fresh water?
No.
You have any idea where we are, Hamilton?
Somewhere in the Dutch East Indies. It's typical of the lower island group. Barren, windswept, very little vegetation.
Well, what are we going to do? Nancy.
Mr. Hamilton! Mr. Hamilton! Water! I saw it from the hilltop. Plenty of it.
Where?
To the east, about 10 or 15 miles. Trees in the valley, lot of them.
You can take the boat to the other side of the island. It can't be too far inland.
Well, let's get started.
There's no boat.
What?
Smashed up on the rocks last night. But that shouldn't stop us from moving on. Well, with luck, we can make it over those mountains in one day. It won't be easy, but it's our only chance.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
All right.
Water! Over there, too!
Frantically at the sight of the small, isolated waterhole, they forgot their weariness and dashed headlong to the precious liquid. But even wearier than he was thirsty, Shannon stopped in his tracks to rest. The others flung themselves feverishly down the slope to quench the agony of parched lips and swollen tongues, threw themselves avidly at the edge of the pool. Water! They plunged their burning faces to the wonderful water and drank with delirious joy. Elaine hurried with a brimming pailful to the exhausted Martin Shannon. Refreshed, their spirits lifted with hope. Hope that they could conquer the desert and cross to the green valley beyond. Children know no danger. The whole earth is their playground, the world of living things their playmates. And what could be more fascinating than a tiny desert hop-toad begging a little girl to come and play?
Feel better?
Elaine, if...
If what, Martin?
Well, I was just thinking. If it wasn't for me, you'd be on the other side of the mountain.
That isn't fair.
Is it fair to the others?
I know how you must feel, but you're tired. You'll rest when you get to the other side.
Then what?
You'll feel much better. Just wait and see.
Janet?
Resuming their painful journey, they pushed onward immediately toward their original goal, the green country across the desert. They trudged on, footsore, aching in every muscle. Their torrid trail took them upward through broken, rocky wasteland, their bleary eyes searching the horizon for the telltale patch of green. The long day dragged on, seemingly without an end. Suddenly, across a ravine, animal life was sighted. This was the sign that Kirk Hamilton had been looking for. Where animal life could exist, so could men survive. It meant food as well as water. The little group pushed on with hope redoubled. As they plodded farther and farther through the sharp cactus, that hope seemed justified. The gaunt and cruel desert terrain began to change. Grass and trees began to appear, and soon blended into the lush, rank growth of the tropical jungle. The sounds of birds and wind in green trees lifted their heavy spirits. Now, although Shannon grew weaker with every step, perhaps the worst part of the ordeal was over. They breathed new hope with the odor of growing things. From a clearing, the smoking cone of a volcano was seen towering against the sky. Kirk Hamilton knew then the explanation of the rich soil and fertility of the region. On these volcanic tropical islands, nature often provided food in abundance. And Kirk's judgment was correct. There, just ahead, was wild fruit and berry bushes, food at last. They rushed forward like any famished animals. As fast as their weary legs could carry them, they raced for the growing food with hungry eyes, as though fearful that the bounty might vanish like a desert mirage. Greedily they crammed the tasty morsels, grabbing eager handfuls right and left. The simple fruits were the most royal feast they had ever known. Then, as the pangs of hunger faded, the little band of castaways relaxed. Despite the terrors they had experienced, secret thoughts of one another spoke in the hearts of Elaine and Kirk, and in Shannon's heart, bitterness and resentment. Even in the midst of their dreadful trials, the old human emotions made themselves heard. Here in the shelter of this natural garden, they finally made their camp. Meanwhile, the Hamilton Queen had returned from the East Indies to take Kirk aboard for the homeward voyage. Now Captain Tallman learned of the battle with the pirates and the fate of his young friend.
It was myself and 7 settlers and Salty here were spotted by a merchant ship and picked up. And the others? Well, both ships were in flames. We saw them go under. What was your position at that time, Captain? Longitude 131 east, latitude 8 south. The lower part of the Dutch East Indies group. It's possible they may have drifted onto one of those islands in that vicinity.
I wouldn't hold out any false hopes, Captain Tallman.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the briefing. I think I'll take the Clipper and do a little scouting in that area. If they made land, it's possible they might still be alive. Thank you, Captain.
Right, sir.
Mr. Davis, come on, Salty.
On the island, the castaways were drawing up their own plans for escape. A raft had been built, and a course was being charted.
We'll shove off at dawn and set our course south. When we reach the point of Queensland, we should be able to make our way down the coast and back to the colony. You better gather all the food you can. You'll need it.
I'll tell the others. Well, we're shoving off at dawn.
Home. I can't believe it.
After all, Hamilton's a seagoing man, isn't he? He should know his business.
At least we can be thankful for that. What are you thinking?
I'm not thinking. I'm praying.
We have plenty to do. Let's get all the melons and berries we can find. I'll help you.
Is there really a chance, Kirk?
It's our only chance.
We've been here over 2 weeks now. Martin needs care and attention. Do you think he can stand the trip?
He has everything to live for. As long as the good weather holds, we have at least an even break.
Hey, Hamilton, come here a minute. John tells me we're going to shove off tomorrow morning. Now tell me how are the chances, and tell it to me straight.
Don't worry, Shannon. I'll see that you and Elaine get back.
Ranging far inland, they collected all the food that the small raft might hold, preparing for the perilous attempt to sail home. They were certain that risking the sea on the frail craft would be the greatest challenge they had yet to face.
Janice, honey, that's no way to be. We're going home now. Daddy were alive, he wouldn't.
I know. Daddy would want me to be brave.
That's right, honey.
What's that?
very mountains crumbled in glowing ruins. As in the grip of a hideous nightmare, they watched the white-hot river of lava that smothered the charred jungle like the molten marrow of the earth. Only as the dark sky began to gray with the approach of morning were they able to number the disastrous hours that had passed. And at long last, as the worn and beaten little group lifted their red-rimmed eyes to the dust-clouded dawn, the incredible eruption began to subside. The smoldering ruin of the shattered island was overhung by a giant mushroom of volcanic dust and ash, revealing the catastrophe far out to sea.
We'll have that raft back in shape in a couple of days.
Yeah. I hope you make it.
Shannon, you're gonna be with us.
Never mind that. Just take care of Elaine.
Martin!
Let's do it.
Oh, no.
You had a lot of courage.
Elaine, look!
Nothing could be alive on that island, Captain Tallman. Shall I set our course for home?
Aye, Fuller.
With a heavy heart, Captain Tallman gave the word to lower the flag of the Hamilton Queen to half-mast. Resigned to the tragic turn of events, he ordered the ship about. Unwilling hands turned the clipper back toward her homeward course. Kirk Hamilton was given up as lost.
Look! Captain! Captain! Some people sighted on the lower part of the island.
Chart our course for the island, Mr. Fuller. We'll pick up the survivors.
Aye, aye, sir.
Yes, it was these courageous Yankee seamen who conquered the dangers and the hardships. Men like Kirk Hamilton, who carried forward the dream of a nation and remade the plans of destiny to fit their own dreams. Dreams of home and hope and happiness in a new world of the future. A new world just over the bright horizon.